tie. Yellow ties are the jam, especially if you wear blue shirts.
I was going to do a pink shirt today with
Were
no
you?
tie. Yeah, I thought of you, but I think my person that does my laundering didn't put any starch on it, so I was very upset when I pulled it out
That's
of the closet.
so funny because the laundry mat, I guess, or the laundrier, what would it be?
Dry cleaner?
Dry
I don't know.
That did my dry cleaning this past time. They had like heavy starch.
Man,
I don't like
love,
heavy starch.
No, I love it.
You do?
Yeah, I starch it so where the thing will just like, if I like set it over there in the corner, it'll just stand up on its own. Right.
You want to live in a cardboard box.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's how I like to do it. So, well, man, in full swing, first full week back for most people. I know I was very empowered this week to just get stuff done. As I shared with you guys last time, this was the second year that I did not allow myself to get into the holiday slump or the holiday just, again, going comatose from eating so much and being out of the office to where it's hard to get those wheels turning again. This year I stayed engaged through the holidays, enjoyed my family, enjoyed the time there. But man, come January 2, when offices were closed, I was up here getting a lot of stuff done and just felt really good. Probably for the most that I've ever felt good about just rocking into the new year. And I think that speaks to, for you listeners out there, I think that really speaks to the passions that I have as far as just building this office this year and a lot of the things that I want to do. And so I would encourage you guys, if you're getting into that holiday slump each year, try to remove yourself from that some by getting excited about what you're going to tackle in the new year. And I think it'll be a lot easier for you to get into it.
Yeah, and I can attest to that. I mean, you were up here at, 11, 12 o'clock at night, a lot of nights.
Yeah, well, we were heading out of town one day, and I don't know if this is good or bad to say. I don't want people to get the wrong impression, but we were heading out of town on New Year's Eve, so that would have been the 30th that I was up here at the office. I had the bowl game on, the playoff game. I had a lot of stuff going as far as just rocking out. I told my wife, I said, look, we're heading out of town again tomorrow after being out of town for quite a while. I'm going to go up there and just hammer out as much as I can, and then we'll leave tomorrow. And I think I stayed up here until, 1 in the morning or something like that. But it wasn't a grind. I was empowered by that. I was ready. And then it just became that much easier on the 2nd and then on the 3rd when offices opened back up for me to grab my team and my staff and everybody here and just say, let's rock and roll. It's time to go. So it was a good lesson for me to just stay engaged.
That's awesome.
It was good.
I love it. We talk a lot about productivity and what are some keys to becoming more productive. I think a lot of it is just choosing to enjoy what you do. Wouldn't you say? I mean, when you talk about it wasn't a grind, why is it that it wasn't a grind?
Well, because I was fired up about it.
Yeah.
I was ready to go. I had my goals in line. I had my commitments in line. I had my intentions of what I want to do. And that leads to excitement, honestly.
Yeah. I love it. I put together some ideas for this morning's discussion because I've been reading a lot about gratitude and just how empowering gratitude is in the workplace.
Oh, it's huge. It's big.
And I don't know, a lot of us are sort of type A personalities that it's like, on to the next thing. I make one accomplishment. I'm not looking backwards. I'm looking forward. Especially this time of the year when we're goal planning and we're deciding what we're going to accomplish in the year 2017, it is so easy to say, I am going to do X, Y, and Z, right? And I'm not worried about what I did last year. Last year was not what I was wanting to accomplish, or maybe it was what I was wanting to accomplish, but I don't care about last year. I'm on to this year.
Right.
And sometimes it's so effective to just say, I'm going to rest in some of the gifts that I've been given and some of the blessings that I already have, and choose to acknowledge a lot of those blessings on a daily basis. And I think the more grateful that we are, the more empowered we're going to be able to accomplish the next thing, and not just let it go by the wayside.
To explain that a little bit.
Yeah. So I think one thing is there's a couple. Harvard has done a review. Yale has done a study. All of the major institutions have done some studies on gratitude. And so I pulled together just some quick bullet points. Yale says that students, they were actually talking about doing a gratitude journal. So writing down one thing every single night that you're grateful for. It's a pretty easy concept. You can just buy like a cheap little small pocket-sized journal. And at the end of every day, or the beginning of every day, which I kind of like the idea of the beginning of every day, get your mind right and get kind of focused on the day. You just write one thing in a full sentence that you're grateful for that day, right? So Yale says, studies say gratitude journal will result in higher alertness, enthusiasm, determination, attentiveness, and energy. Stanford says it offers a high demand class leveraging Stanford says that students are 20% less stressed when they do a gratitude journal. Harvard studies indicate gratitude improves health and strengthens relationships. UC Berkeley research indicates gratitude journals improve sleep and decrease illnesses, which is pretty incredible. Columbia says gratitude improves the immune system, which reduces anxiety or depression.
How do you think those things are? I've got my own answer here, but I'm curious from you. How do you think those things are affected by gratitude?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you can just say, hey, I'm grateful for X, Y, and Z, and I know I've got so much more on my plate that I have to accomplish, but I've already accomplished so much. You can rest in what you've already done, and have the confidence to know that what's ahead of you is something that you can tackle.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Keep talking. I'm going to grab. I see 4 things in front of me right now. This was not planned. I see 4 things in front of me right now here in this office that allow you to record your gratitudes. I'm going to grab them real quick so the people on Facebook Live can see this. But I think what that does is it speaks to a lot of things that are coming out right now. The study and the research behind this is not, woo-woo. It's not hocus pocus. It's not like, oh, let's all feel good, and then 10 years from now they're going to go, oh, yeah, that gratitude stuff, that was kind of a bunch of crap. I mean, it's real. But as I jump up and grab these things, continue, if you don't mind, to talk through how you think that highly active, people that are striving towards success each day and significance, how we can use that gratitude to our benefit. But then also, I'd love to talk through why you think people, and I don't know what your study said, right, but why you think people aren't spending the time each day to do this simple exercise if it does mean so much.
Yeah, I think it's because it feels silly. Or maybe it's not a habit. But there's some neat quotes that I thought were really interesting. One says, none is more impoverished than the one who has no gratitude. Gratitude is a currency that we can mint for ourselves and spend without fear of bankruptcy. Another quote says, be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever, ever have enough. That was Oprah Winfrey that said that. Oprah keeps a gratitude journal, I think consistently, like on a daily basis. She's worth $3 billion.
Yeah, there's a ton of people out there who do it, and I clued into this about a year and a half ago, and of course with everything I want to test it, and I want to, I don't think gratitudes are a new thing out there. I think most people out there that are doing things in a highly successful way, that's how they say that they start their day. But for those of you guys out there on Facebook Live, this was not planned. I literally just grabbed these 4 things from my office. I've got Craig Ballantyne's, what I grabbed here was his brain dump sheet, but there's a place to put gratitudes on there, and there's a check mark here to check if you've completed your gratitude journal for that day. So his Perfect Day Formula Kit comes with a gratitude journal. That's incredibly important.
That's awesome.
This journal that I've picked back up and started using again this year, it's called the Self Journal. I don't even know who this is by, but when you open this thing up, there are, at the bottom, this morning I'm grateful for, and tonight I'm grateful for. Gives you a chance to list 3 gratitudes in the morning and in the evening, which I think psychology would tell you is key. Tal Ben-Shahar, there's a book of his called Happier. This is the workbook that goes to that. And the very first week that you turn to here, because he thinks this is so important, he runs the highest attended class at Harvard and has written a ton of books. Week number 1 is on being grateful, if you guys can see that. And so what I did was, a while back, just wrote down a ton of my gratitudes in week number 1. And it's so important to him that even though you go through this 52-week journal, week number 1 is what are you grateful for? But then he says continue to repeat week number 1 on writing down your gratitudes every 7 days, or not every 7 days, but every 7 days have a list of your gratitudes. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But then as you move to week number 2, continue week number 1 as well. Like
That's
never
awesome.
give that one up, right?
It's a building
And then the
block.
last one is John Lee Dumas, his Freedom Journal that many of you guys know about that came out last year, which is accomplishing your biggest priority goal in 100 days. This is an awesome, awesome journal. And one of the things that he has in here is the first line here is, I am grateful for. So at the start of each day, I am grateful for what? So it's definitely a real thing. It's things that people who are successful out there know about. It's things that we should be clued into more. And just the science behind it is pretty fascinating. I think we can get so negative. We can get so negative with our day. We can get so bogged down in negativity each day that writing down gratitudes is what comes back and brings us back to center, I believe.
Absolutely. I mean, the Bible says, if you're faithful with a little, you'll be given much. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And why is it, I've said this before, why is our brain Teflon for the good things, meaning everything just bounces off, but yet Velcro for all of the negative things?
Yep.
I don't remember where I heard that from either, but a while back I heard that and I thought, man, that is so true. There's so many good things around us. You've heard me talk about Zig Ziglar many times before out there in saying that Zig Ziglar was the first person to really teach me about functional optimism or practicing optimism in a way that I could relate to. It wasn't Pollyanna, it wasn't pie in the sky, it wasn't mumbo jumbo. It was real, because what he says is, look, everything's not going to be perfect. We live in an incredibly hard and difficult world, but look at all the amazing things that are going on around us every single day. And I thought, man, that is so true. Why are we geared each day toward Velcro to the negative things and just stressing and sitting in those, and the good things are just Teflon that just bounces off of our mind?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think that maybe a small source, but a source of some of that is false humility. And what I mean by false humility, there's a lot of us that, we'll get a compliment and we'll say, yeah, but I really didn't do as well as I was supposed to. Or, thanks, but, we don't really receive the compliment. We talked about this a couple episodes ago. You don't really receive the compliment. You don't really thank the person giving the compliment. You kind of push back on the compliment and say, yeah, but that wasn't me, or this or that. Or humility is not receiving a compliment or self-deprecation by any means. Humility is being confident in yourself enough to appreciate others and uphold others to the highest, level of respect.
Right.
And so it's not, I'm going to be self-deprecating, right? It is, I'm happy in the state I'm in. I love my life, but I also hold others in a really high esteem, and maybe even in a higher esteem than I hold myself. Right?
Yeah.
That's pure humility. And that I was reading a couple weeks back. There was a Harvard Business Review done on a study that was done on humility. And the thing about, obviously Harvard grads, a lot of really, intelligent people, highly intelligent people, spend a lot of their time with other highly intelligent people.
Sure.
Right? So this conversation was around, just because obviously when you're in that type of environment, you want to learn from everybody, right? If you're at Harvard, everybody is somebody that's maybe as smart as you or maybe smarter than you, and you want to soak it all in. But it's really important to realize that you can also learn from the guy at the pizza shack, right? You can learn from the guy that's the bartender. You can learn from the janitor. And so just because somebody is not, quote unquote, on your maybe your level as far as peak performance, or maybe on your level as far as brain power, doesn't mean that you should not hold them in the highest esteem, because you can learn from them.
Yeah, I think the times in my life, excuse me, I think the times in my life that I've learned, maybe not the most, but the times that stopped me in my tracks the most were not from the people that were the business owner leading the meeting in the room. It wasn't the shareholder. It wasn't the person that was esteemed as super knowledgeable. I think it was the people that I wasn't ready for just a little nugget of knowledge that they threw on me. And the reason that it kind of stood out to me is because I wasn't expecting it from them. People that you don't always people that some of us out there may think are below us, whenever they say something that's profound, it almost stops you in your tracks, because you're like, wait a minute, hey, what did you say?
Yeah.
And it's kind of remarkable, because you realize, hey, I was not waiting for that. I would put somebody that's leading the room and writing on the big giant whiteboard in the boardroom and all of that. I mean, they say something that's profound, and you're like, oh, that's good, I'll take a note of that, but you expect
You
it.
expect it, yeah.
It's the people that I wasn't expecting knowledge from. Those are the things that have seared